All right.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Charlie. How are you? I was wondering I want to start by saying I don't agree with you on very much, but I hope we don't see each other as enemies. I just want to have a discussion about something that I am a little concerned about. I do feel a decent deal of concern about the White House Faith Office, which was recently, I believe, established around February 7th to combat Christian discrimination. I see it as sort of a violation of our First Amendment rights, particularly the Establishment Clause. I wonder if you could give me a little more information on that.
Biden had a faith office. Every administration has had a faith office the last 100 years.
Is that true? Huh.
It's
well, I guess I don't have a whole lot more to...
A faith outreach arm, that's right.
Still, I don't particularly agree with the idea that there's Christian discrimination in America. I think emboldening or establishing something that's supposed to combat Christian discrimination, which is not particularly an issue in America, I feel like it steps too close to establishing the Christian religion to not be somewhat of a violation of the First Amendment.
All right, we'll just disagree on that, but thank you.
Well, agree to disagree.
Appreciate it. Thanks for
day.
being here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any disagreements, guys? We got to wrap soon. Yes, sir.
All right. So I just want to. We might have opposing views on this. I'd like to extend my gratitude to you as like an advocate for the voice, as a voice for the voiceless, such as me. I'm Armenian. You always voice your thoughts on us. But my question stems down to this. What is your position? Earlier you said you think Turkey should be kicked out of NATO for this, but I don't think countries could be just kicked out of NATO like that. So what is your position on America's involvement with NATO? Do you think we should like stem away from NATO because they're kind of leeching?
I mean, if NATO is going to get us involved in this Ukrainian war unnecessarily, yes, but NATO's generally been a good thing. But why do we keep on expanding NATO? NATO is an irritant to Russia. We should not go out of our way to try and antagonize Russia. It is stupid. It is self-defeating.
Yeah.
It's not good for America, period, end of story. And what we should do is we should configure all of our force and our attention against our true enemy, the Chinese Communist Party. The Chinese Communist Party is our true enemy, not the people of Russia.
But moving forward, Russia and China have always enjoyed like very good relations with each other. In recent times, we've seen Trump has been trying to get closer to Putin and potentially establish a connection with Russia. Do you think that would be more economically beneficial to America as in contrast to us being with NATO?
Which part?
Us aligning more with Russia than we are with NATO.
Well, we're not. I mean, I think that, but first of all, remember, Russia wanted to be part of NATO back in the early 2000s. There is not a good argument to overly antagonize Russia the way that we have. We should be friends with both, but like Russia is not killing Americans. Russia is not currently involved in like poisoning our youth with fentanyl, or Russia is an unnecessary enemy largely created by the U.S. security state.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Can I get a signed hat, please?
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you.
Anybody any disagreements? You got an IDF search? No, he's already gone. Yeah.
IDF?
Yeah.
Can I come?
Sure.
Hi, Charlie. My name is Sharifi. Wait, I have some notes real quick. Let me just pull them up. Hi, Charlie. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to start off with that I admire you a lot regarding your logic and your thoughts on wokeism. I think wokeism is very bad, especially for the minors of our country. My name is Sharifi, and I'm a proud Israeli Persian Jew. As a Zionist, I want the best for Israel, which includes bringing the hostages home, and Israel obtaining peace with its neighbors. I hope one day to see a world where Jews and Arabs can coexist in the Middle East. How can Israel obtain peace and more diplomatic ties with its neighbors surrounding them?
I mean, Israel, first and foremost, has to destroy Hamas. And by the way, you know what no one's talking about? Is Hamas should have to do an unconditional surrender.
Yes, sir.
Not a peace deal. We need an unconditional surrender like we had in Japan. Absent an unconditional surrender, I don't believe peace is possible. Okay. You notice no one has mentioned that term unconditional surrender? That needs to be reintroduced. Okay. We did it in World War II. We need an unconditional surrender.
Okay. Thank you, Charlie. May I please have a hat?
Yes, thank you.
All right, have a great day.
Absolutely. Anyone disagree?
Can I get it signed,
yes,
please?
Sure.
Hi there, Charlie. I just want to say I've looked up to you for many years. You're the one who got me into the conservative movement about 8-9 years ago. I really love you. And out of everyone in the conservative movement, you're the one who I feel matches my moral ideals the most. One thing I just want to ask you, as a Christian woman who wants to start a family, and I look around me nowadays, especially living in California, I'm really afraid of what my child's going to be exposed to. I live with a 6-year-old, and every time she comes home, I worry that she's playing dog, she's gonna pretend to be a furry someday, or I don't know. I get scared of that stuff, honestly. What do you think is the best way to prevent our children from being influenced from those ideals and growing up with the proper Christian ideals? Even though we keep it in our household, they're still exposed to it outside.
Yeah, first of all, don't send your kids to government schools. That's number one. Number two, have a very robust church life and attend church regularly. Honor God in all that you do. And also, marry a godly man that was willing to defend your kids and to wall off all of the negative, poisonous content that might come after your future children. It's very, very important. And then finally, I don't want to say leave California, but it's getting worse around you. The cultural poisons and toxins that are out there is so dreadful. It is so heavy. So that would be my piece of advice for you.
Thank you so much.
And if you are called to be a stay-at-home mom, that's a beautiful thing. You don't have to go into the workforce to be a godly woman. In fact, I recommend being a stay-at-home mom. It's one of the most underappreciated elements of American life. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can I?
Yes. The battle between good and evil seems to be escalating. It is easy to blame politicians, government, or poor leadership, but behind all of that is a spiritual battle. Pastor Alan Jackson's new book, Angels, Demons, and You, talk about the reality of this battle and the spiritual realm that exists around us. It has a real impact on us every day. As you read, you will discover that angels and demons are not imaginary, they actually exist. You can find them playing a variety of roles throughout the Bible, and they're still influencing the world today. We don't need to be afraid, but we do need to be aware and prepared. Angels, Demons, and You provides valuable insight, practical tools, and biblical truth to help you recognize the spiritual battle around us and become a difference maker in our generation. Get your copy today at alanjackson.com/angels. Disagreements welcome, guys. Anyone disagrees? Yeah, sure.
Hey, Charlie. I just want to say I'm a big fan of you, bro. I really appreciate everything. I just got a quick question, all right? What do you think of the Azerbaijan and Armenia situation?
I already answered it.
Oh, you already answered?
Yeah,
I'm on. Can I get a hat by any chance?
Yeah, I'm on Armenia's side. Thank you. Yep.
Yeah, I've been waiting here for like 2 hours. What's up, Charlie? So I agree that Trump's tariffs will make America rich, and I agree cutting outside spending is a good way to kind of counteract inflation. But I think there's a lot of waste and spend inside of our country, as majority California. A lot with homelessness, a lot with the fires. There's no infrastructure, there's no system here, and Californian dollars are getting wasted every day on a lot of things. What do you recommend we do to minimize that?
I mean, you got to stop electing Democrats in this state, right? I mean, here in California, you guys have the highest poverty rate. You have the highest homelessness. You have the highest wealth inequality. You guys have the highest cost of living. You have the second highest home prices. And you have the highest what we call quality of life crime in the country. Break-ins, burglaries, thing of that nature.
Even just fires by homeless people.
What?
Even just fires by homeless people. There's a lot of waste on resources that are getting sent out.
And so you need to change who is running your state, and that starts with the California Democrat Party.
All right. And then last question. College enrollment rate has been dropping every single year for the past few years. Education feels much less regulated, not up to date, and pretty not advanced anymore. What do you recommend if you want to get educated but don't think a college education is the best way?
It's a good question. It depends on what you want to do, right? It depends on what you want to actually,
For example,
pursue.
Sorry to interrupt, but this college here has promised to raise their tuition 35% over the next 5 years. 7%.
I mean, it's incredible. I'm going to be honest. In the next 10 years, we're not there yet. These colleges are going to be completely irrelevant.
Absolutely.
AI is going to take away 90% of the jobs, and advanced robotics is going to basically take over the world as we know it. So find something to study and be good at that AI can't do.
Thank you.
It's the best piece of advice I have for young people.
Thank you, Charlie.
Find something to be good at that AI cannot do.
Thank you.
It's a short list, by the way.
Yeah.
Because AI is getting pretty advanced, as you well know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir. If you guys disagree, make your way to the front. Thank you.
Hi, Charlie. First, I want to thank you because you're a big reason why Trump won the election in the youth vote. So I just want to thank you for that. Now I know your stance on DEI is, no DEI based on race, religion, ideology, political beliefs, which I 100% agree with. My question for you is, what are your thoughts on DEI I don't know if DEI is even the correct term, but based on context or circumstances. So I just want to use like applying to college, for example. So let's say someone like J.D. Vance, who grew up in a very rough circumstance, probably went to an underfunded school, versus just another applicant who maybe went to private school, had more opportunities, had the opportunity to take higher level college courses and succeeded. So on paper, you could say that the one that took harder classes has, more merit. But would you also consider the fact that the other applicant didn't have the opportunity?
On the surface, it sounds good. So number one, this is the way they're getting around affirmative action, is they try to have these what they call context cultural scores, and they try to get around that way. The answer is no, that should have no bearing, because you need to have a system based on excellence, and if you do not, you will then discriminate against people that otherwise are very qualified to be there in those positions. It is not the goal of the institution to try to open the door to as many people as possible. It's to be the most excellent possible institution and be able to protect knowledge and pursue knowledge. That is what the goal of college should be.
But what do you think the best solution is for people that don't have those opportunities to begin with?
I mean, first and foremost, try your best to graduate high school, make the most of your life. Maybe go to two-year college or technical school. I mean, these are just general life advice. I mean, if you want to stay out of poverty, it's not hard in America, by the way. And everyone in this audience, it's not hard. It's very easy to stay out of poverty. You want to know how to stay out of poverty? Don't commit crimes. Get married before you have kids. Get a job, any job. Yeah, exactly. Get a job, any job, right? And be not awful with money. You do those 4 things, you can stay out of what is classified as poverty in this country.
Okay, just one last point, because I remember you were talking about, or at least I heard that you were talking about, that character can be a part of merit. Could you make the argument that someone has a lot of character if they do come from a harder circumstance and we're still able to
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I think character does matter a lot. How you weigh it in an admission process is very complicated, though.
I agree, yeah.
Thank
It's
you.
very complicated.
Appreciate it.
Can
Thank
I get
you.
a hat?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to send greetings from Pastor Jesse as well, from Legacy Family Church. I'm under his leadership. He just sends his greetings. But I did have a question. I just wanted to know your stance on tariffs. Like, what would you define a tariff is? And also, what are your thoughts on the tariffs that Trump is doing, like he's imposing?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it works. I mean, I think we need an equitable agreement. I will say this. The import tariffs are necessary, and the American people voted for them. The idea is bringing back American manufacturing and try to put America workers first. But if they raise prices, which they might, then they should be pulled back.
Awesome. Would I be able to get a red hat?
Yes, I'll sign it for you too. Thank you.
Yeah, good job, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. I'm a big fan, I just want to say. And I want to tell you, I was at a protest on Pico, Robertson, which is in LA. The pro-Hamas guys, they came to our neighborhood, to our synagogue, and I got my nose broken. And it was all because of them. And here's my question. My question is, for the people who are Christian, for the people who are Arabs or whatever, and the Jewish people also, how are we supposed to go about all those people that are right in the back right now that are chanting that they want for us to not have a land, for us to not be living comfortable in UCLA campuses and over here, all over. So I'm asking you, how should we go and respond? This is to the Jewish, the Christians, and the Muslims. How do we go about this?
I mean, Israel has to defend its homeland first and foremost.
But what do we do? What do we do?
I mean, I wouldn't give them too much oxygen, but what we as Americans need to do is, if any of them participate in flag burning or an anti-American behavior and they're on a student visa, they should be sent back to their country of origin, and they should not be going to school here in the United States of America.
And let me ask you, if someone is saying, because I hear this a lot of Christians say that I'm a Christian, I'm dealing with my own problems, I don't want to be involved. Do you think that that's the right thing to say because you're Christian?
No, Christians should be involved in the public square. They should be salt and light. They should be engaged in the public discussion, not just quarantined off to one area.
And what about Arabs?
Because
they could say oh, okay, these are my people. Listen, I
mean, look, they're entitled to their opinion, but it just seems as if they're taking over every European country right now, and it's very disturbing.
And should we fight back?
I think we should say we should absolutely dramatically restrict immigration. Yes.
I hope there was going to be some kind of disagreement, but
no, sir.
I agree with you.
Thank you. I'll give you a hat.
Thank you.
There's not that many places like that.
Hey, Charlie. I just got a question regarding the drug problem within the U.S. What's like a legitimate fix to this?
Which drug problem specifically?
I think anything. Heroin. I think marijuana is being already legalized, being fine. When it comes to like fentanyl, heroin, cocaine, because the prohibition method we've been taking isn't really working out. But we can't really just let anyone.
I mean, we first need to close the southern border. That's number
course.
one. We need to have death penalty for drug dealers. That's number two. And we need to have much harsher penalties for anyone that is involved in the trafficking of drugs. And then we have to go after the actual supply, which is the Mexican drug cartels.
I think that's true, but isn't that taking like a alcohol prohibition type method where that?
I mean, it worked. Alcohol prohibition worked in one way. Alcohol usage went down.
But there was still mass
So
gangs from like
what was the problem with alcohol prohibition? Tell me.
The major gangs that came up during Chicago, New York.
Yeah, there was some bootlegging, but actually crime went down across the country.
Okay.
You could look at it. I mean, I'm not all for like banning alcohol, but there's a lot of lies about prohibition that are told. But also, let's just stop acting as if heroin and alcohol are on the same level. Heroin's way worse, right?
No.
Meth is way worse. Fentanyl's way worse.
Of course.
But yeah, I think we have to be more serious about what actually creates the cascade of effects of people that want to be able to use these horrific drugs.
Yeah. I just want to is there like a plan we could go down to fix
Yeah, I mean, I think President Trump's doing the right thing. Secure the southern border, heavy penalties for drug traffickers, and going after the source of where all the drugs are coming from origination. So thank you very much. Great question. Thank you.
I mean, we have class things.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a hat?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, boss.
Okay, thank you.